Hey everyone, my name is Zach. I'm a 22-year-old competitive bowler from Canada, and I'm currently at my home in Burlington right now, in Burlington, Ontario. Welcome back to the COMPCLIMB training series, where I record most of my training, provide in-depth analysis of every session, and just chat about climbing with an emphasis on competition. So, like I said, we're back in my home, and that is because if you have missed out on the news recently, Maddie and I moved back to Canada from Germany. Our year spent there is now concluded. And what our plan is basically is to stay at home for a couple months before we eventually make our way over to Montreal. That's definitely the place to be in Canada for bouldering right now. The scene is it's really popping off right now. So we'll definitely go set up a life in Montreal in the coming months. But for now, we're going to be spending a couple weeks here at home just to get on the time zone and prep for nationals, and then we're going to go fly to BC in a few days for the event. So I had 2 rest days. The past couple of days we spent obviously packing up our apartment and flying over to Canada, which was a lot of work. And obviously there's no way I can train during that. And we even had to take a couple of days off of recording. So I've had a few training sessions in Germany before we ended up to where we are now. Just some fun sessions of bouldering. I met up with some people and actually had some social sessions, which was a lot of fun. And then, we had 2 days of rest and a whole travel day, flying to Germany. It was a pretty intense travel as well, because our landlord had to long story short, he had to meet us really early in the morning at 7. And meanwhile, our flight was at 5 p.m. that day, so we had to get up at 6 and then just wait around all day to go take our flight. And meanwhile, we're going from Europe to North America, which is you gain time. So it ended up being such a long day, and it was in our best interest to not sleep on the flight, because we would be arriving in the evening back home in Canada, so we would want to be able to go to bed when we arrived. So I had to stay up for a super long time, 2 days of rest. Actually slept really badly last night, so I woke up this morning dreading the day of training that was about to happen. With all these factors and the jet lag, it was definitely, I was going to be feeling far from what I've been feeling in the past few days, which is really strong. It was actually, I was kind of bummed that I missed out on recording some of the sessions that I had after our last episode of COMPCLIMB that I filmed, because I was feeling super strong, and I was doing some good boulders. There were a couple of sessions where I was doing some eliminates of some hard boulders at Boulder House that we'd already done. I was doing them with a few holds taken off, and same thing at Studio Block. But yeah, I've been feeling really good. Like I said, I've been mentioning this recently in the past few days of training we had in Germany. I've been really feeling the effect of this performance training cycle, where we've done all our strength training in the past few months, had our rest weeks to sort of gain the strength, and now we're taking it and just doing a bunch of bouldering to make sure that our strength, we're able to put it to use and be able to climb and use it well. So the past few sessions I've been feeling really strong, but today was not the case, and it's just because of all these factors I said, the jet lag and the sleep. The lack of it, I was definitely feeling pretty garbage today. If you'll notice, I just look super shaky. A lot of these holds that I'm used to climbing on at my home gym, I think I mentioned we're at Climbers Rock. If I haven't, then I'm mentioning it now. But yeah, this is the gym where I grew up in. It's my family gym, and all these holds I'm super used to, and meanwhile I can't grab them at all. I'm feeling really pretty weak, especially in the fingers. But I am not, this used to sort of scare me when I wasn't used to traveling, but now that I've traveled so much for competition and had to switch time zones, and I've just had so much experience with it, I know that this is just the sort of the day after the day of travel that you got to have, and shake off the jet lag and shake off the rust. And even by tomorrow, I'm sure I'll be feeling way better and back to my normal self. So yeah, like I said, this doesn't really, shake me up too much. So yeah, I, not only did I expect this, but as I started warming up, it was confirmed that I was not going to be feeling super hot this session, and I was just going to have to make sure I had a nice chill session and didn't go too crazy with the boulders. And I've mentioned this previously when we've climbed at CR, but we are known for being a very physically hard gym. So a very stark contrast to Germany and the gyms we were training at recently. We have very little slab walls, very little vert and very little slab. Even this wall looks like it's pretty vert, but it's only looks vert because all the other walls are so overhanging. This wall is probably 30 degrees or something, and it's the sort of least steep wall that we have, along with one of the other walls on this wall that we're going to climb on later. But like there's like no sort of let up in this gym except for back here. This is what we call the lab. This is our second like sort of room in the gym with a bunch of boulders, and there weren't any hard looking boulders on the vert. So like all the hard boulders that I had to get on today were going to be steep, and which is extra hard today. Like climbing on the steep physical boulders for the 2 sessions today with like no let up it was going to be a tough ask for my condition, like for the the first session off of the jet lag. And yeah, like we're known for being like a very physically hard gym. Like if you climb in this gym regularly, it's going to get you strong just like super easily, because you have no choice but to climb on like physically hard boulders. And that's why like I've always sort of been like, especially in my youth, I've been known as like the powerful climber who can't climb on slab and isn't well rounded and can just pull really hard. And that's because I spend a lot of time in this gym. And I was definitely sort of feeling like the shock to my system of like coming to the Climbers Rock where we got all the steep boulders and we're just known for the steep, powerful climbing, and coming from like Studio Block and Boulder House where there's a lot of techie stuff, I was sort of smacked in the face with all the powerful boulders, and it was definitely a bit of like a learning curve to get used to it and get my body feeling good again. But anyway, that sort of wrapped up our session 1 of just doing a bunch of moderates while I wasn't feeling super good. I just tried to stick to some V8s and V9s just to get the body going, and then I had a couple of harder boulders lined up for the next session that we would get on when I would be hopefully feeling a bit better. And we will check that out after we do our sponsor highlight for today. Today we're highlighting Climbers Rock, one of our title sponsors for the COMPCLIMB series. If you're looking for the best climbing facility in the Toronto area, CR is your place to go. The 25,000 square foot facility features 2 large boulder sections, 80 rope stations, 12 auto belays, a dedicated youth bouldering area, and a training room fitted with all the equipment a climber could want. Our head starter Jamie spearheads an extremely psyched setting crew who are putting up 5-star boulders and routes every day of the week. They put up a great blend of classic commercial style climbs with comp style routes and boulders mixed in as well. Climbers Rock is a must visit if you live or find yourself in Burlington, Ontario. So after our morning session, I just hung out at the gym for a few hours, like 3 hours or something, let my body recover. And I was pretty hopeful that, even just by resting for a few hours, that I'd be feeling a lot better for the second session. And if you've been watching the videos a lot, you'll know this usually happens with me. I can even just have like in the morning session, I can have a really, really bad session and feel like pretty garbage and like even be feeling pretty weak. And then all I need to do is like, rest for a few hours. And once I do my double session, because I've trained my body to do double sessions for like so many years, it is like so good at recovering these days, and it can actually feel like a new day of training by the time the second session rolls around, and it can just be like night and day. And that's like one of the biggest advantages of doing double sessions. That being said, I am like so messed up from the jet lag that this didn't quite happen today. Usually I can have a pretty good feeling or a pretty good idea when I'll like have like a much better second session compared to like a bad morning session. And after the first session finished and I was like even waiting around at the gym and resting, I was like feeling like, oh, okay, no, my body still feels like super tired and sore from this morning session, and just like my lack of sleep, my body wasn't able to recover super well from this first session. So this effect didn't really take place today. I was still feeling just not super bad like for this session, but just not like a super big upgrade like I was hoping for. So hopefully by tomorrow, my recovery will be a bit better if I just get a better night's sleep tonight. But for this session, I was feeling slightly better than this morning, not quite as bad as this morning, but just a bit better, which meant that we could get on a couple of the super hard boulders up in this gym. So at CR, we just have like our V grades, and then what we do as well is like we have these star tags. You can see I'm trying a star tag right now, and then there's one on the left. You can see with the yellow holes that we'll try after this boulder. And star tag just basically means that nobody's done this boulder yet, and then if you get to send, whoever sends the boulder first gets to grade it. So start tag means that this boulder is sort of a project right now, and here I finally figure out some beta to stick this super hard crux move. With this beta actually it ended up not being super hard, but the way I was able to find like a really good beta for the sequence actually is going to be leading me into today's tip of the day. And this is just something you can sort of look for on steep boulders in general. And I've naturally, since I've been climbing at CR for years and years, I've developed a lot of techniques that you can use for just steep climbing in general, because 90% of our walls here are steep. So I've had to learn how to get really good at climbing on the steep. And so something I did there was I sort of towed her on the left side of the left start hold and heel hooked the right pinch. And I sort of just got this pincer to lock myself in on this cast on move. And most of the time when you're climbing on steep, if you can like find like a way, like any sort of position, even if they're sort of like micro footholds, to sort of pincer your toes in together on two holds and sort of squeeze 2 footholds together with your toes rather than just stepping down, that's going to help you just sort of have almost like obviously you always have sort of 4 limbs in play if your hands and your feet are on the wall, but it almost gives you like another set of arms if you can like pull with your toes inwards and then pull into the wall. I just find it really helps a lot of the time in the steep climbing is if you can get like these sort of almost kind of bicycles, and so there I found a nice position where I could sort of pincer 2 holes together. On the steep, it really just allows you to take a lot of weight off your hands. Whereas if you're trying to like get some hard tension on bad footholds, it can be hard in the steep a lot of the time. And so this is a similar tip of the day, I guess, to the tip of the day that I had on like the kilterboard session that we did a couple months ago. In that video, my tip of the day was to find like a lot of bicycles. You can actually find a lot more bicycles than you think, even if they're like sort of tiny little micro bicycles. It's the same sort of thing with steep climbing. You can find a lot of sort of like pincers and like squeezing 2 footholds together on the steep, and it can help take a lot of weight off your arms. And that's something that I did on this boulder that helped me get this end of this boulder instead of doing like a really super powerful move. So now we're trying this star here, which is the only other star in the gym. And this is sort of our most vertical wall on this Rockworks like concrete section of the gym. And that being said, this wall is actually not very vertical. It's probably the same as the other wall I was talking about, like 30 degrees or something. So these flat hold slopers are really quite bad on this angle. And this boulder was super cool. It's like sort of a weakness of mine. This sort of crux move features a weakness of mine, which is sort of friction-based climbing. And I was finding I was really having to like optimize as much as I could and really like try as hard as I could with the friction element of this boulder. And it was almost just too steep to just rely on friction. So I ended up having to really pinch this left hand, this like flat hold bean. This was like a really good boulder. This was like limit. This was the nice kind of project where like all of your tries are different because the moves are just so hard and it's like at your maximum capabilities, that it's not just like sort of every try gets better and better and better. You can have one try that's really good and then then your next tries can be really bad. But yeah, I was like playing around with the sequence here. Here's like one of my good tries when I was just trying the top half, where I finally like made it through. Like I found the sequence that I'm gonna be able to use to do this boulder, which is to have like sort of like, not quite pinching this right hand, but almost kind of dragging it. The thumb is sort of in play a bit. And then I have to hold this bean and I have to pinch it at the top. And I found that when I was trying to pinch it at the bottom and sort of match it on top with just like sort of flagging with your left foot on and your right foot flagging, I couldn't match it just sort of like with 2 hands like this. And I found that if I pinch it higher, like the pinch is actually a bit higher on this bean, and then I cross under and I can down pull more with my right hand. That's just sort of what felt like super comfortable and optimal for this hold. So the sequence I found was, I got to hit this really bad pinch on this bean, do a foot match to work the left foot over, and then back flag, and then sort of just, now I can get the more down pull spot of this bean and then go out to this crimp, which is pretty good. But these holds are so bad and the steep is just so steep. Here's like my best try of the day from the bottom. I thought I had it, like I finally got the foot match on this foothold and like I had just these holds as good as I could have them, but then I just didn't quite snag the tension on this left foot super well. And I was pretty bummed to fall there because it's like so low percentage to work my way through the sequence. You can see like any sort of like bit of instability in the slopers, like instability on these slopers means I'm not going to be able to do this foot match and get the foot over. And yeah, I was like having a real battle with this boulder. Like every try I was like sort of signing up for like a maximum effort attempt, just like sort of gritting my teeth and like having to be so tense on these slopers to work the foot over. But this one was a really good project. I was happy that there was a boulder today that could stump me. I think we'll be able to try this boulder again. I think we have one more session at CR before we go to BC for nationals. So yeah, I'll give this boulder a try and see if I can conquer my weakness of these friction slopers. So yeah, that wrapped up today's day of training of our 2 boulder sessions at CR. It feels really good to be home. It's like so nice to just be in my home environment, see family. Like this is also just sort of great, a great place to be as I'm like going into a competition. It's like putting me like yeah, we made a lot of friends in Germany, but just to be around family as well. It's got me in like a super good, happy headspace going into nationals, which is always good and is always a plus. So yeah, tomorrow we're gonna go to Joe Rockhead's. It's I think it's Toronto or even Canada's first climbing gym, maybe. But yeah, it's a well-known gym in Toronto, and we're gonna do a comp simulation there. And so yeah, that'll be fun. Tune in for that. Insert catchy video outro here.